Right now in the health and fitness world, it seems like nutritional science is all the craze. Tracking our macros, our vitamin and mineral intake, trying to achieve longevity through biohacking and supplementation. And don't get me wrong, this is a great thing that people are becoming so conscious of their health decisions. But the problem with nutritional science is that it is only concerned with what we're putting in rather than focusing on the things that we need to eliminate that are impeding our health in big ways. Namely, the foods that human beings should not be putting in our body. It's a lot like a car. If you were to go to the gas station, fill up your tank, and every time you fill up on gas, throw a big handful of dirt and sand and pebbles into your gas tank, it wouldn't be long before your car is not working in a very good way. Now, you could do all the things to try to fix your car. You could change the oil. You could put in new brake fluid, new windshield wiper fluid. You can replace the brake pads. You could rotate the tires. You could put on new windshield wipers. You can add all the stuff to try and enhance your performance. And it may help to some degree. It may aid in the longevity of your car's life. But if we don't take care of the problem at the root, if we don't eliminate all the waste that is accumulating in the system, we will never have an optimally functioning vehicle. And so it's the same thing with our body. We have in our modern world environmental toxins, pollutants in the air, household chemicals, heavy metals that accumulate in the body. On top of that, we have emotional stresses. We are in this constant state of survival, fight and flight. We have past traumas and emotions that we never processed that end up storing up in the body, in the fascia. And most of all, we have the foods that we eat, the foods that are filled with pesticides, herbicides, processed, unnatural ingredients. Now, if you look back at some of the original naturopathic doctors, people like Arnold Ehret and others, they all believed that this was the cause of all disease. Obstructions that accumulate in the body as a result of what they called mucus-forming foods. Ehret said that if you were to take your average person's day of eating, eggs, bacon, yogurt for breakfast, a couple slices of pizza for lunch, a big burger and some fries for dinner, and you would put all this food in a bucket and leave it out in the car, a closed car at body temperature for, let's say, 8 hours. And you go back and look at what had become of all that food. It would not be a very pretty sight. There would be a foul odor. It would have started to break down and decompose into all these pretty nasty byproducts. And Ehret said, this is what happens when we eat those foods, when we eat these mucus-forming foods, is they don't completely eliminate from the body. They form this mucousy, slimy, putrefying waste in the body, and it gets stuck there. It can't get out. It stays in the lining of the intestinal system, the colon, all of our internals, and it starts to gum up the system a lot like the sand and the grit in the gas tank of the car. And so it's a lot like if you've ever seen the inside of a cut open kitchen pipe. We have the pipe, but you have all this gunk that's building up along the outside. And so the actual part where the water can flow is only about this big. The rest is caked on layers of stuff that shouldn't be there. And when you start to remove it, you need to go layer by layer. You need sort of solvents and drain cleaners and all these harsh things that are going to start to break away all the stuff that has been caking on for years and years and decades and decades. And so this is what our internals look like, our intestines, our colon, our blood vessels. And as we know, the intestinal membrane is a two-way street. So when all this stuff builds up on the inside of the intestines, it starts to leach back across the membrane into the bloodstream, and it poisons our blood. And so we have all of these toxic byproducts flowing through our veins every single day. And this is what causes disease. It causes stagnation and blockages in the body. And as we know, anytime there is stagnation in nature, there is disease. This is what a swamp is, because things aren't moving. They need an inlet and an outlet. And so this is why it's so difficult to predict and identify the probability of disease in a lot of individuals. This is why you could put two people on the same diet, the same supplement, the same protocol, whatever it may be, and different people will have different outcomes because everybody's internal environment is different. And so this determines how our outer inputs will react and cause an effect in our health. And so it may seem like a simple, straightforward problem to fix. Just do a juice cleanse, just take a laxative. We've been told that what goes in must come out because it's sort of this one-way tube, where if we eat, we have a cheat meal, our body will take what it needs and gets rid of the rest. But unfortunately, this isn't exactly the case. Most of us have anywhere from 10, 15 plus pounds of waste that has accumulated in our body for decades and decades. And so it has to be a slow, gradual process that unfolds over the course of years. If the body were to eliminate and detox all of this at once, we wouldn't survive it physically. Most of us have abused our bodies our entire lives. I know I did. For so many years, and so it takes a long time to undo the damage we've done. So this is why you can't do it in a 7-day juice cleanse. Recently I've been trying to be really good about my enemas. I've been doing lemon juice enemas. It kind of scared me for quite a while when I started this mucus-free, mostly raw food, fruit-based diet, and I've been on this diet for almost over a year and a half now. And so you would think I'd be pretty clean. I thought I was pretty clean, but in doing these enemas every day, it is shocking and kind of disgusting, some of the waste that comes out. And when it comes out, you almost get this euphoric feeling, like your body is so happy, it's so relieved that you're helping it along because it's been trying to get rid of this waste forever. And so you get these big energetic releases, these big jolts of energy. And the body, I've noticed, when it's clean, it needs less and less food to function. It actually wants less. It wants less food, less inputs, because the body, I found, loves simplicity. And it's really when we go back to basics and eliminate all the complex stuff that the body really gets a chance to heal itself. In fact, a lot of times the more stuff we put in the body, the worse off we are, because the more we're putting in, the more the body has to actually deal with and process, and it just complicates everything. It gums up the system. This was a big mistake that I made looking back when I first started getting into health and diet, and I started learning all these things and finding all these supplements and protocols and new foods I should be adding, and I kind of laugh at myself now, but I thought more was more, that if I covered my spread of vitamins and nutrients and foods every single day, I would be better off. My body would be healthier. And so I used to make these big superfood smoothies with like 30 ingredients, every superfood I had in the house, and I would take every supplement every day. And yeah, it moved me along my journey of healing, and it moved the needle, but I don't think it was ideal for me in any way to be giving my body this amount of inputs. And so it's really not the deficiencies that cause disease. There really are no deficiencies in our modern world. It's the obstructions that spell our demise over decades and decades. In fact, when the body is perfectly clean and our chemistry has shifted, which is difficult and unlikely in our modern world, but if we can get to this point, the body can actually produce everything that it needs. It becomes sort of this self-sufficient, self-sustaining air gas engine that functions in a totally different way than we have been told. And so It's not about getting more protein, more vitamins, more omegas and fatty acids. We don't want to be adding all that fuel to the fire if we don't need to. It's really about eliminating the things that are causing the system-wide damage. And yes, I know it can be very scary to ditch this nutritional science, this model that has been so ingrained within our society. I think it's one of the things that we take for granted without really taking the time to validate it for ourselves through our own observations and experiences, because it's been ingrained in us since we were children. We were told since we were young that our health is the product of what we put into our body, that we need to get certain vitamins and minerals, and we need to have a balanced plate of macronutrients, that we need to follow things like the food pyramid. And so we really, ever since the time we learn it, we never take the opportunity to question it and really come to our own conclusions. We just take that as truth. We take it as gospel. And if we were to really look at it, what we're not told is this was just another theory, another best guess that won out over its competitors, this nutritional science. If you look back at the origins of nutrition, things like protein theory, vitamin theory, most of them came about in the late 1800s, early 1900s. We really didn't understand what was going on in the human body, and a lot of these things were formed from experiments on animals, dogs mostly, which dogs are biologically not even close to human beings and primates. There were competing theories at the time of the nature of disease, the importance of diet, what we should be eating. And as so often happens, one side won out and the other side of the story was completely suppressed. There were a lot of people who believed that eating was more about elimination. It was more important what we didn't eat, that we didn't need all these things coming in. We just needed to detoxify and get rid of all the things that were obstructing our natural state of healing and health. And so when this nutritional theory won out, it became the foundation. And what we have now is just the unfortunate result of many, many compounding mistakes over generations and generations. They were new experiments that were based on the old assumptions that were actually flawed to begin with. And so, as difficult and scary and uncertain as it is to take a leap into a new worldview and a new view of health, this is what it is to be a true seeker of truth. It's to see what we find through our own lived experience. So this is my suggestion and my recommendation to you, is just to simplify. It's to cut things out rather than add things in. Eliminating foods that we know we shouldn't be eating will be way, way more beneficial and more cost effective than adding a bunch of supplements and protocols and vitamins and all this other stuff into our diet. We really can't out-supplement a poor diet or a toxic lifestyle. We need to cut out the root of the problem. And so we don't need to spend hundreds of dollars on these supplements and treatments. All we need to do is let the body kind of exhale and relax, to feel safe, to release the traumas that we're holding on to, the stress, and the body will begin to heal itself. And that's the good news, is it's never too late. The body can always heal if you give it the time and the space and the love and support. And so just, I would encourage you to experiment and see what you discover. If you change your diet, even radically, for a short period of time, it's not going to do any long-term damage. So play around, see what works for you. It's going to be different for each person, and it's going to be dependent on where each of us are in our own healing journeys. And so remember, no matter what, there is nothing outside of you that you need to heal you. You have it all within. And this is the downfall of most people, is looking to some doctor, some expert, some treatment or supplement outside of them. But this could be the very thing that saves you and allows you to reclaim your power and your health. So thanks for joining me for this short message. If you enjoyed, I really appreciate if you can give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. If you are not subscribed already, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments as well, and hear your experience. Maybe your experience aligns with what I am learning in my life, or maybe you don't agree with anything I said, but either way, I would love to hear from you, and I would love to open a conversation. So if you want some free resources, I'll put those in the description down below. I have a free ebook to help you introduce this diet of raw, cleansing, mucus-free foods. You can also join us in the 30-day raw food challenge, where I give you everything you need to know, everything that I have learned so far in my journey in just 30 days to prepare you for the road ahead. So I appreciate you taking the time to listen today. I appreciate you putting in the effort to up-level yourself and your health and your awareness. You will be able to help and serve and love in a much greater capacity, and that's a really amazing thing. So thank you for that. Have a great day, and I'll be back with more. I'll see you next time.